I have been living in my simple DIY van for over 4 years now, and the last few nights have dipped into negative temps. The coldest so far being -8 degrees. And really, the preparation for mornings in such cold weather starts the night before. And it might seem ridiculous that I'm living in this tiny, simple van in such weather, but for me, this lifestyle isn't about making things easy, but rather making things simple, because when things are simple, it requires some work to make yourself comfortable, which produces the most beautiful type of gratitude. The most important thing here is heat. So preparing all of my wood for the evening and the morning, and then bringing in some of my essentials like my power stations and my water. And then I make sure to always have kindling in the case that I let my wood stove burn out overnight. Go to the bathroom? Akila is ready for bed. Over the years, I've learned about some of the most important things to do in weather like this, and ways to kind of keep me sane. So I lift everything up to the level of my wood stove, because anything on the floor of my van will freeze solid. Which is also why I lift Akila's water bowl up, and I make sure that my own water bottle is on the counter. I like to tidy up the van so that when I wake up, I feel more at peace. I always put my hair into a loose braid because it is one of the easiest way to take care of long hair when you don't have access to a shower or a bathroom. I have a pee jug for the middle of the night so I don't have to go outside. And I left it outside when I emptied it today. I'm gonna go retrieve that. Okay. Oh, wow. I have a strict rule that my phone goes down by 8:30 p.m. And then Akila and I often have a discussion about whether or not we'll sleep with her bowl. And then the rest of the evening is spent reading. Bird. Akila's not a morning person, so She just stays under the covers and sleeps for usually the next 3 hours or so. Oh my gosh, you are so funny. Most nights in winter, I don't keep my wood stove going. So on these really cold nights, I wake up about 3 times. I think I woke up 3 times last night to soak the wood stove. Otherwise my contacts freeze solid and my water freezes, and yeah, for like the last 4 nights now, I've been waking up through the night to soak the wood stove. I just, through the night I don't burn it wide open, so it's not super hot in here, but it keeps the chill out. I have to pee. It's so quiet. Oh my gosh. She doesn't like it when I get up, because she's usually leaning on me. Sorry, I gotta go pee. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And it's moments like this that I'm so grateful I didn't forget my pee jug outside. I always feel quite dehydrated when I wake up. And a large part of my morning are drinks, so I do start with just like hydration and a scoop of my AG1. It just feels good to start with that. Oh, it's so cold. I no longer drink coffee first thing in the morning. Crazy, I know. Something that I guess I've always noticed, but I didn't want to believe, was that coffee makes me really anxious and it doesn't feel good in my empty stomach. It's been almost a full month of me doing this instead of coffee. I'll still have coffee later in the day, but no longer do I drink it in the morning, which feels so weird to say out loud. But that's what I've been doing. And what I have been doing has felt absolutely amazing. So I mixed together 1 full scoop of pure bone broth, not like cooking bone broth. You don't want that, otherwise it will just taste like weird soup. So I use pure bone broth, a little bit of honey, and then I add cacao. This is really high quality and ethically sourced cacao. It's just this very rich, soothing drink. Cacao has a lot of amazing minerals in it, has some really good fats in it. Of course, it has much less caffeine than coffee, but it still has some caffeine. And then you have the bone broth on top of it. So in this drink, there's all the benefits from bone broth, including collagen, and then also 20 grams of protein. It doesn't mean that I don't love coffee, though. I have always wanted to be the type of person that journals, and I have never been so consistent as now. Almost my whole life I've had this like perfect idea of a morning routine and what I want my morning routine to look like, and it never really stuck. And I think that's because I was like holding expectations of this idealized morning routine. This routine that I've created has been so organic. I never just like sat down and was like, this is what I want my routine to look like. Instead, I just kind of let it evolve naturally, and now I am so consistent with a routine that feels so amazing to me, and it just is has been so wonderful. This is my very beautiful, very special journal. One of my biggest intentions for this year is to live closer to our natural systems. And one of those that I'm focusing on a lot is the moon and the cycles of the moon. I came across the 13 moon cycle. 13 cycles of 28 days make up 364 days, and then there's one day of the year that's just this, like, I don't remember what they call it. That one day is also celebrated. I went searching for a 13 moon journal, and I have found it. And when I tell you, this journal has just changed everything. So instead of following 12 months, you're following 13 new moon to new moon cycles. So right now we're in the wolf moon, and in a few days it will be the new moon, and then we're moving into the snow moon. It's just the most beautiful journal I've ever had, and I love it. Things like this journal and links to the different things that I incorporate into my life. I share a lot of these more like personal aspects of my life on Patreon. If you want to go and join that family, you can join for as little as $1 a month, and it's just more of a sneak peek into a bit more of my, like, the personal side of life. In my journaling bag, I like to keep some like scrap pieces of paper and some tape. And I do this because there are moments where I come across passages in like a book or really beautiful quotes that really speak to me, and so I'll kind of use those to create these little like notes or reminders. This is one that I added. It says, "Trusting my body over my mind, owning my most unreasonable and audacious desires, saying no without guilt or stories, forging my own path rather than looking for examples of how it has been done before, moving with my energy rather than forcing against myself, less perfection and performance and more raw and real humanness, relationships built on trust and mutual excitement, letting go of mental expectations, leaning into my evolution and allowing change to happen organically, remembering that everybody wins when I am satisfied and lit up by life." I found that quote and I just thought it was so beautiful. So obviously I live in a van. I don't have running water in my van. I just live out of my, like, I call them blueies. I never wash my face. But even if you don't have running water or a bathroom, my whole living space is smaller than most people's bathrooms. You can still really take care of yourself. So usually I do this closer to when I wake up, but I've been yapping. So I like to take a cotton round with my cellar water. Sometimes I do this at night too, but I will admit that I tend to be more, maybe disciplined in the mornings. Then I take a little hyaluronic acid serum. I actually don't like this one, but it was expensive, so I'm using it. It's just so strong, it smells like perfume, and I generally don't have anything at all perfumed on my skin. Once that is all dry, I move in with frankincense tallow cream. Also up here is where I keep my mouth tape. You might have noticed this morning that I pulled tape off my mouth. I've been taping my mouth at night off and on for like a year, and I really love it. It can feel pretty strange at first, especially if you're not used to having like something covering your face, or especially if you're really used to sleeping with your mouth open. But eventually you get used to it, and I tell people that it kind of just feels like a warm hug now when I put my tape on. It's like getting tucked into bed. I have also very organically and easily started a meditation practice. A few weeks ago, I had listened to a podcast with Joe Dispenza, and since then I have read his book, Becoming Supernatural. I have just like tumbled into Joe Dispenza content and it feels really appropriate right now in my life. So I have been doing one of his shorter morning meditations. It's been incredible.
How are you? Are you still sleeping? Sleepy. You're such a sweet girl.
And to move into a new state of being.
Good girl. Good job. Thank you.
The sun is up now. I have some more water heating up on the wood stove because I like Akila to have warm meals too, especially when it is this cold. Not that she's cold at all because she just sleeps under the covers and steals all of my body warmth. For her toppers this morning, she's getting an egg, some bone broth, a small handful of blueberries, and some grass-fed beef. I have found a human grade like dry food that I'm trying with her, just so that I don't have to make like a fully balanced meal for her every morning. It's been nice to like save a little bit of money, but also she has really bad farts. And we're just trying it out, aren't we? And we'll see. Right now we have a lot of travels in the next few months. I am heading to Arizona for a week-long ancestral skill workshop conference thing. And then shortly after that, I'm heading to the Amazon rainforest in Suriname with a group of women for a 10-day expedition. So during those times, I want Akila's meals to be a little bit more simple for the people who are going to be watching her. Come over here. One of the most important things about weather like this is taking care of kind of the basic things that I use day to day. So my portable power stations, these guys are in charge of a lot. I like to have them inside and up near the heat so that they don't get totally frozen overnight. Because once they're totally frozen, they can't charge. And then it takes quite a while for them to get to the point where they'll take in power. So by just keeping them warm throughout the night, I can usually put them out mid-morning on a typical day. This morning is pretty cold, so I mean, hopefully they don't just like, hopefully they can still take in power even as the day goes on. But if the sun is out, usually it's okay for me to bring them out there, and then they have almost a full day of like gathering power. But if they get really frozen at night, if I end up leaving them out or something, it will take like till like 1 or 2 in the afternoon for them to get to the point where they're taking in power because they got so cold at night. That is why I keep them inside, is to prevent that. Similar with my water. That's just so that I can access my water and it doesn't freeze solid overnight. I think this is a good time to bring these out there and then I can get them charging. A lot of times I leave my big guy out there if I don't need it, but tomorrow it warms up a bit. I think it'll, the high is like 30, 32 maybe, but at least at that point I can do some work out on the studio. It's cold. I'm so grateful it's not more windy. So, I have kind of a big announcement. There has been one very important change or addition, to my morning routine, which has taken up a lot of my time. I have been studying. So I've been dedicating at minimum like 1 to 2 hours every morning to studying, learning, and taking courses on straw bale building. A few days ago, I finished a 16-day e-course on building a straw bale house. That was like a really amazing introductory course that it just kind of like touched on all of the basics, so that there was kind of like a foundation of knowledge. Since then, I have been diving into this one, Design of Straw Bale Building, and I'm currently learning all about plaster in this book. And then also, I am currently taking a video course as well, and taking a bunch of notes and like drawing diagrams. This is a diagram of what a toe-up looks like. Yesterday I learned the miller's knot and what it looks like to retie bales and consider space needed for notching and the best side to place to the outside versus the inside. And there is just loads of information, but right now it's winter. I can't do a whole lot outside of working on my studio space, but all of this is because I will be starting to build a house this year. I kind of have always known, like, I'm just not interested in building a normal house. And then when I came across straw bale houses, I immediately fell in love with them. And if you know anything about straw bale houses, you know exactly why people fall in love with them. A few reasons why I'm settling on a straw bale house is, well, it's a natural building method. Environmentally, it's pretty good. And then for your own health, it's really good living in a space that moisture can come in and out of. You're breathing clean air. Everything is like pretty natural based and like organic for the most part. This will allow me to have amazing insulation and then create a design that is like passive heating and cooling. So using windows, using such a huge thermal mass that is straw bales, I'll be able to create a home that is just comfortable all year long, basically, with minimum need for heating and cooling. And I've always been striving towards living as close to nature and among nature as I can. To be completely honest, I have been having a really hard time for like the last 3 months or so. I've recently like really turned a corner in this, but I genuinely haven't wanted a house. I am so comfortable living this way. I love living in my van. I love living in a space that basically forces me outside all the time. And I have been really resistant towards living in a house because I just don't feel like I'm ready for that yet. I love my lifestyle. I love the simplicity of it. I just love it so much. But in order for me to use my property at all, in order for me to spend any more nights here on my property that I paid for with my very own money, I have to be building a residence. Legally, I would not be allowed to drive my van onto the property I own and stay here for a few nights, for a month, whatever. Like, that's illegal. I have a lot of feelings around that, and I've been able to like talk to the people close in my life who have similar views on that, and I want to avoid doing that here because I know a lot of people don't think like me, but I do know that there's a group that does think like me. The only thing I will say in this realm is that I, for a very long time now, have felt as though many of us are forced into like an artificial way of living. I think that we are animals and this earth is our home and we belong in nature. Like, it's even crazy to me that that is something separate, that nature is something separate than us. Like, that should just, like, we are that. Our instincts and our way of being and our knowledge, like, all of that belongs in this natural world. With all of these regulations taking place and codes, and you have to do this and that, and you'll get kicked off your property, and you have to put in a giant plastic field of stuff just to go to the bathroom. There's just so much that, like, it is illegal to live in our natural state. And that's really frustrating for me. And I know it's really frustrating for a lot of other people who can feel the separation from our home and like want that back. Anyway, okay, I'm done. Over the last few months though, I have kind of turned a corner because I am so grateful to have the opportunity to purchase this land and to have the opportunity to take care of this piece of land and to, you know, build my dream life. And I think a lot about Akila. So Akila's 8 years old at this point. It'll be really wonderful for her to have a home other than the van that she can like grow old in. There are other things that I love to do, like really love cooking and having space for like preserving food. It will open up the options for other things that I love to do by having a more traditional home. So yeah, pretty like life-changing turn of events is, yeah, that I'm gonna start building a home this year. And it won't surprise you to know that I plan on doing as much of it as I can. And that's why I am taking the next 5 months to just like study this form of building. And the most exciting part of this is in June, I will be attending a week-long hands-on straw bale building workshop where a group of us get together. We build a house over the course of those 7 days. So the point of all of this studying and learning and like immersing myself right now into just like the basics, the knowledge, is so that when June rolls around and I attend this workshop with professional builders, I can come with really important questions, so that can kind of be like the icing on the cake, and then I can actually maybe like move forward with pouring a foundation and figuring out what type of framing that I want and like honing in a design. So yeah, this has been a lot of my mornings, to be honest, is sitting down and studying straw bale homes. So while this isn't necessarily how I wanted to spend this year, I was hoping that this year I could kind of financially recover a bit from the well and septic, and then do a lot of art. Like that's a big part of why I'm building a studio, is to have space for other things that I love. Now on top of all of that, I will be building a house. Yeah, it's going to be the coziest, most beautiful little home.
We're going to start with our first bale now off in this corner. And you remember we talked earlier about removing this stud that was in place here that was right up against the toe-ups, and you'll see now why that is. We have to place this bale in here and finish off this way. Depends on the way the bales are set up and which side you're cutting, if you're cutting the bent side. Now again here I've notched both sides of this bale, so I want to be careful that I'm putting it in the right way, with knowing that this one goes on the outside and this one goes into the corner. I don't want to flip it around because it may not work.
Okay, my learning for the day is done. At least my learning in regards to straw bale building. And that time is actually really nice because it allows Akila's food to settle, and it allows things to warm up just a tad outside. In just a few days, it'll be a high of like 36, which is crazy. Where are my socks? But even in cold temps, I have been trying my darndest to do at least a 3-mile walk every single day. So that's what we're doing now. And with the weather getting nice again, Akila and I are going to be working on more projects, and we're like really moving forward with the studio build. So stay tuned, because this studio is going to be so amazing and so cute and so cozy, and the perfect little outbuilding to complement my soon-to-be straw bale home. Alright, Akila and I have a walk to go on, and we will see you next week.